What if the secret to transforming your life isn't just working towards success, but learning how to tune in to the frequency of synchronicity? Welcome to Personal Development Mastery, the podcast that helps intelligent, busy professionals develop self-mastery and gain clarity so you can thrive in a fulfilling, purposeful life. I'm your host, Agi Keramidas, and this is episode 522. If you are looking to accelerate your success and align with a deeper sense of purpose, the conversation with my next guest explores how tuning into the frequency of synchronicity can really transform your life. By listening today, you are going to discover the difference between wishful thinking and real-world synchronicity and how to align with it. And you will learn a formula for unlocking soul-aligned success even during times of crisis. If you are tired of traditional manifestation methods that have not delivered results, then this episode is for you. Before we dive in, if you resonate with the topics on the podcast and find yourself at a crossroads, I offer one-to-one mentoring and coaching. It is a space to gain clarity, reconnect with what truly matters, and move forward with purpose. If you are curious about what that could look like for you, just reach out using the link in the show notes. Now let's get started. Today it is my real pleasure to speak with Suzanne Kos. Suzanne, you are a successful entrepreneur, author, and self-proclaimed inventor of free time. In your book, Super Synchronicity, you share the power of aligning with the frequency of lucky chances. And you are passionate about helping people unlock rapid, soul-aligned success by tapping into the power of synchronicity and reprogramming their inner identity. Suzanne, welcome to the show. It's such a pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
And so am I, and it is, a conversation I'm looking forward to. You have, reading your story, I realized that you have manifested. I will start using this word straight away because that's what we'll be talking about. So you have manifested some extraordinary things in your life. So before we actually go to the manifestation part and what you describe in the book, I would like you to tell us about those, extraordinary things that you manifested, and especially the role that synchronicities played into them happening. So we're going to dip into your story for sure to get an understanding of your own journey and how you, understood and developed this.
Yeah, for sure. It was my own story that brought me to this point. And I have to say, it's not just about manifestation, because I think synchronicity is one step ahead of it. It's another understanding, because when you talk about manifesting, people think you make a wish and the universe is delivering, but most of the times it's not like that. Otherwise, it would be just too easy. And synchronicity is something different. I really see it as a frequency where you can tap in. But if I have to explain the term first, it's the usual. It was from Carl Gustav Jung, a famous Swiss psychologist, and he described it as a chain of coincidences. They have no causal connection, but they lead to a certain outcome. Yes. But the great thing about is, on the way you don't realize it. It's just when you arrive and you look back, and then you realize how strange these coincidences happened to lead you to this certain point. So, and my story, I think many people talk about it without having manifested crazy things. But I started out very kind of naive, very young girl. And I think I was just in this frequency of it's a kind of trusting, and it's a good energy, and you're always sure it works out for you. This is sometimes naive, but when I look back at that time, I'm coming from a normal family, no rich parents or so, but I always had this dream of living on a beach. And when we talk about synchronicity, it's important to understand that at the end of the day, your inner picture makes your outer reality. So if inside you, something for you is just normal or done, or it's there for you, it will arrive. So in my case, when I finished university, my parents tried to put me into a normal office career. And my father arranged already a meeting with the local boss of the bank, to be sure that the daughter, and I got, the job was granted, and it was just like, I kind of know. No. And then I said, I go to university just to get a little bit more time. And after I finished university, the same more or less happened. And for me, I don't know, I had a job during the summer holidays, and I earned quite some money. And so I decided, just to go on a long holiday before doing anything. And we went to a travel agency, and this guy said, there's like a special offer now to Bali. And I booked a flight to Bali for 8 weeks.
8 weeks, nice.
8 weeks, a little holiday with just spending all the money. And I can tell you, I arrived there and I knew this is my island. I just knew I want to live here. And it was funny because we were sitting on a beach, and my boyfriend at the time, he did already some coachings, and he asked me this old coaching question, if you have a magic wand, what would you wish for? And I said, I want to live on Bali. I want to live on this island, and I want to have a boat. And he was laughing at me because it was like, everybody wants to live here and have a boat. But in my case, it stuck with me. We went home, and I could not think about anything else than living on Bali and having a boat. So I pushed him to go back to Bali the next year. And this is, for me, that it was really synchronicity in a deluxe form. I realized afterwards, because when you're in the middle of it, you don't see it. But for me, there was no doubt. We found the boat builders in the south of Indonesia, and the people told us, it's cheaper to build a boat. But it was still like 250,000 euro. I mean, for a student, this is quite some money. But I tell you, we signed the contract without having an idea how to get the money. And we went back, and it was this chain of coincidences of meeting the right people. Because in the beginning, we got a tiny credit of like 30,000 euro, and we made the down payment. Still no idea how to get the rest of it. And I think this is also like, if you're not really sure, you give up with the first obstacles, But in this case, I think we went to like 10 banks asking, and most of them will say, no, we cannot grant you any credit for a boat in Indonesia. But somehow we found a bank, and there was also a coincidence because the boss of the bank, he had a brother, he owned a boat in South Africa. So he knew about these things, and he said, okay, I believe in this story, I give you the money. And so it turned out, we built a boat, really 30-meter motor sailing boat. And again, when the boat was finished after 1 year of building, there was this terrible tsunami. It hit Indonesia and the Bali bombing at the same time. I don't know how many hundreds of people died. And there was like, in 1 second, all the tourists were gone. But for us, again, it was the best. It was horrible, but we realized we cannot do a cruise ship. So there were only one tourist, they came back, and these were the divers. So we asked again for some money to adjust the boat for a diving boat. And this was the key to our success, because we could never make money with a normal cruising ship. But the divers, they like these remote areas, and they pay for it. And we became the best booked boat in this area for more than 10 years. So even if there is like a really disaster, if you are in the wrong frequency or mindset, it's a disaster. But if you are in this, I can do it, frequency, there is always a way around. And in the meantime, I really trust this. If there is one thing that doesn't work out, it's just not meant for you. And another door will open up. And this was my first story. And after 10, or at the end, it was nearly 12 years, we sold the boat and we went back to Austria. And for me, this was the time when I started to realize that it was something really special. What has happened. Also, like we have been doing this business 10 years is not like a short success story. It was really long, living on a boat, living the dream. But yeah, after 10 years, it's also enough. All the time on the beach, and I got a mother in between. I got a child. So it was time to go back. And this is when I realized I really fell into this trap of these wishes to the universe, the secret, and you make a wish, and if you just believe, it will work. It's not like that. It took me almost 3 years and a really terrible time, like nothing was working, everything went wrong. And I was always looking in the past. I was, what did I do wrong? Where did I turn wrong, But then I realized it was the time when I heard the first time about synchronicity, when I realized about this inner identity. And I realized that I lost my inner identity of this, let's call it easy success, or the trust in the right decisions, or in the trust that whatever happens is good for you, So that there is one thing, if it's not working, don't stick to it. And I realized many things at the time, like this how addiction, what I had, you're a control freak. You think this must happen for the success, and you're stuck in this how addiction. You have a lot of self-sabotage, like typical patterns you have, like, just me, like sometimes a little bit lazy, it's not necessary. But there are so many things on the way. And with this synchronicity, it started. So I realized one day there was like no money left. I was really thinking how to feed my kids. And I remember I was sitting in my kitchen and said, so now it always starts for me with a decision. So it with a definite, unnegotiable decision. And for me, in this case, I just saw that the jewelry business, I was like in a one-way road, there was like a ceiling, and I couldn't get through. So I decided, in the meantime, I call this like beautiful destruction. Sometimes you have to destroy everything. If you're stuck for that long time, the base is wrong. There is something really wrong. So I basically destroyed everything. I changed even the name of the brand. I changed it to Wish Crystal Jewelry. I made a totally new web shop, and I decided, just to look on the whole story, what is like, what I really hate. I hate to go to the exhibitions. I hate to go to deliver the jewelry to shops. It's such a lot of bureaucracy. So I thought, and this was in 2019. So I thought I want to have a web shop. And at that time, it was not normal to sell jewelry just online. It was the people like to touch it. But I thought, no, I really want to stay here with my children, and I want to have this web shop. And with really the last money I found, because there was the term synchronicity, and there was the second term that was scaling. And this is something, if something comes to you all the time, you have to go for it. And for me, it was like, I read about scaling. I saw it everywhere, how to scale a brand, to make it with the same effort, to make more turnover. And this was only possible with a web shop. But it was really like that. And this was my first synchronicity formula. This all happened within like 1-2 months. And I wrote down, I want to have a turnover in 1 month of 10,000 euro and in 6 months, 100,000 euro. And know-how and nothing more. And for me, this is, maybe I'm a master of disaster, but it was exactly the time before Corona hit the world. Mm-hmm. So my web shop was ready in January 2020. And Corona hit the world. And I can tell you, in the first months, I made 10,000. And in the middle of the pandemic story, in June, I had 100,000 euro turnover per month. And this is crazy. I still have some of these bracelets because they are super tiny, like it's just like a little rock crystal on it. Yeah. And this was the first time I repeated it.
Susanne, thank you for this description of those events and how it felt. There were some things I will come back to that you said. You mentioned the first. Let's clarify, because I am very curious. You mentioned quite a few times the word frequency. And I understand. You also said that it is more than the power of thoughts, and I believe that anyone, me included, that has done affirmations, for example, for a period of time, they understand, shall we say, the limitations that there are in doing a practice like this. So this frequency that you say that synchronicity is this frequency, we enter a frequency. Can you describe how it feels like and how one knows that, I'm on that frequency now? Is there some way to tell?
Yes, because for me, frequency is the best description, because when you say like everything is energy, this is the common common way to explain it. But for me, it's really a frequency. And I think it's easier to understand, to tap into a frequency instead of being energy. And for me, it's more than thoughts. It's like, it's an emotion, and it's a certainty. Like, and to tap into this frequency, it takes time. And what I realized, I always say it's at least 23 days, but it's like a month. Like for any new habit, you always need at least 1 month. And with this, it's like a formula, what you write for yourself. It's like a guided meditation, but you have to repeat it all the time. And my synchronicity formula, what I developed, it's very simple. It's just something you tell yourself all the time. At the best is every hour, every moment you can take. Just do it. It doesn't matter if you're cooking, if you're washing the dishes, if you're in the shower, you repeat it. And sometimes in the beginning, it feels like lying to yourself. Imagine when I said to myself, in 6 months, I want to have 100,000 euro. In the beginning, it feels like it will never happen. This is just like reaching for the stars but how? But this crazy repeating all the time, it's like you wake up and the first thing in the morning you think about this. And this is because the way you think, when we come back to the frequency, just imagine, for me, it's like, just imagine the music is playing the whole day. It's not like one song you like, but somehow there's always music playing, and it makes a certain feeling. And with this repetition, you are like putting yourself in this frequency, and you train yourself to come into a special emotion. And it's really, it's that simple, like a yes, I did it emotion, This is always when you remember, when you did something really big, the problem is the feeling doesn't last that long, You feel great and the next day it's like, oh,
what's next?
What's next? But to call this feeling back and to stay in this feeling. And I really realized it's like you're radiating from inside to the outside. And it's not always, for me, you can easily also train it during the day with normal things. You don't need to change your life totally all the time. For me, it's like simple things. There was last time there was like our heater was broken. And I was like, just, there's somebody will come, I will find a solution. And it was just like that. The same afternoon, I met my neighbor and I said, oh, he's like a mechanic for the cars. And I said, oh, you're a mechanic for sure. You know somebody who can repair the heater, just like that with easy. And he said, yeah, for sure. But these are the tiny things, but this is also the frequency. You always have the decision. You sit there and you're like, oh, you're fed up and angry about it. Or I said, oh, you're somehow, it will work out. And that's it.
This is great. And I want to go deeper on this because I think this is, there are some details in there, in the technique, if you want, that many people get it wrong. And that's why they don't have the outcomes that they want. So you said, and I made a big note of it, that you tell yourself all the time, from the moment you wake up. So a couple of questions about this. One, you tell yourself, so is it language that you use? Is it phrase that you use? Phrases? Is that something that you repeat in your head like a mantra, or is it more involved than telling yourself, as you said?
This is the point of the whole story, because
exactly that's why I'm asking.
yeah. No, and because for me, I have to go to my own story back first a little bit, because last year I sold my jewelry business, and it was the same again. And then the people said, oh, it's a niche market and it's very much on your personality. It's hard to sell, but in my brain, it was like, in 1 month, why not? And it was a six-figure number.
Congratulations.
So, yeah. But it was really like that. My business consultant, he said, oh, no, at least 1 year to sell something like that. And you need much more, business plan and blah, blah, blah. And I started already like what I call these surrounding noises, when people tell you things that you think it has to be like, no, in my brain, it's different. I'm posting it on one of these e-commerce trading platforms. And it was like that. I wrote again the formula. So I did it again and I sold it within a month. I found a buyer and she didn't even negotiate about the price. She just wanted to have the brand, and that was crazy because it was against everything. I realized later on that it's really because I was so lucky that this girl, she wanted to buy another jewelry brand, but the deal didn't work out. So she had everything ready. She founded a company. She had the money ready from the bank. She had a contract ready. So I just needed to check with my lawyer the contract and we signed it and it was done. So and that was the point. I was, I think, jumping around 1 month in my garden. Like, I did it again. And this was the point when I decided to write a book. To write a book was also my dream, but I wanted to write a fantasy novel, something fun. I didn't want to write about my story, but that was the point when I changed this dream. And then I started really to analyzing what is the way. How I repeated it. I repeated it also with my husband, So I found also my perfect man. But there is a structure and there is a way to do it. And I realized one thing, what the whole other stories, they always talk about the beliefs. But I think it's impossible to find all your old limiting beliefs. The same with the inner child. I read a few books about it, but do you really remember, like the memories are, you're not sure, So I decided, I just override it. So it's not, I'm not look like I did before, you can't find this, you cannot find the solution in your past. This is you start with the decision to do something, to change something. And then you just overwrite your beliefs. It's not about, one time you write down your beliefs, but this is the first step. And then you're writing down your new beliefs. There is and then you take your inner child and then you just release all the blocks. And this is my formula is structured like that. So I wrote the book leading the people, the readers, through the process of building their own formula. And you have to think about the formula. It's not like a
mathematics.
No, it's not mathematics, but I like very much guided meditations, because if I try to meditate by myself, I don't know, monkey mind, and I think about the shopping list, whatever. And the guided meditation is just leading you. So the formula is nothing else than a guided meditation you wrote for yourself by yourself. So it's like quite simple. It's 9 steps. You start like with it's like a warm up. You tell yourself, I'm a master of. I like to say I'm a master of meditation. And it's fun because if you say it for the first time, it sounds stupid. But if you tell this thing 1,000 times to yourself, it's normal, for me it's normal. It's like a master meditation. I'm releasing all beliefs that are blocking me, or I send them to the universe, and what I'm getting back are presents, and I take my inner child. And then there is the core of the formula is just what you want to achieve. And I like to choose one area of life. So I say whatever, if it's for the most people, it's in the beginning money. So you put like a short-term goal within 1 month and a long-term goal, because this is how it worked best for me. Like in 1 month and in 6 months, I want to have that. And I always like to put a big picture on top, like to think about your life, how it should look like in 3 years or so. And
when you say think about it, do you mean see it? Earlier on, you used the phrase inner picture, and I wrote that phrase.
Yeah, this is when you write your formula, in the beginning, you write down many things, and you imagine also a picture and you write down. But when you go through the formula, it's the end of the formula. It's maybe 1 page, it shouldn't be longer than that. It's just 1 or maximum 2 minutes. But this is what you repeat, and you go through the steps. If you have not much time, you just make the most important. Then you come to the center. This is like your real wish. And what I like to do is the same. Like I like to take my inner child with me, it's really imagining and feeling it. Like I think about myself as a child. I take myself by the hand and say, you come with me. And the same I do when I think about my big picture, my future. I think about the future version of myself. That one who got already everything. So, and this is for some people, it's hard to because it's easier to look back than to look in the future. But I always say when you are able to think about yourself as a child, and you as your now self talk to your child, and you tell them, we did this. So the same way you can trust your future self. So it's like a little dialogue, so I can also trust my future self. And then use like some gratitude, and that's it. And it shouldn't take more than 1 or 2 minutes, but everything is included all the time. So, and for me, it's the most important thing is in the beginning, really the best thing would be every hour. But for me, it's like, as soon as you realize that you start doubting or thinking stupid things, I really mean stupid things. Is like, when I have to do this again, just repeat it. And it's like a muscle training.
A mantra or something.
It's a mantra, yeah. But you have to imagine like your thoughts, they make like lines, this is like when you go a road hundreds of times, there are these ruts.
Yes.
And to override it, you have to do this work. And at the end of the day, what I like, nobody knows what you're doing. When I remember when I tried to sell my jewelry business, I didn't tell anyone, not even my husband. And he was like, because it was last January, and I said, no, I want to sell it now. So, and I didn't tell him, and he was really sometimes said, everything okay, everything, do you need, are you sick? He was already really concerned, but I was, when we were sitting in the car at home, I was just repeating it, just to make myself sure and open. And when I talk of the frequency, I don't think that there is that this frequency is bringing these coincidences or the right people. It's just opening your eyes, because you are like, I think everything is always there. But with our how addiction or our beliefs, we just don't see it and we don't go for it. We're stuck.
Thank you. This is very, very useful. And how you're talking about the rats, that is how our thoughts have been, and how to override them. What I got, and that was, I think, the important thing is really that this is a process that, I will say again the same phrase that I wrote down from what you said. You tell yourself all the time. I mean, you said once an hour, which is very nice. Ideally, I would expect that the moment you actually repeat that and all the time, as you say it, then there is that magic that happens, the synchronicities. Can I ask you, unless I'm wrong with that, but what I wanted to ask you is, someone listening now that are beginning to understand some things differently in this process of how to bring about in their life what they want. What would you suggest as a small, practical tip, some shift that they can take today or tomorrow morning to start this change towards, entering this frequency a little bit more?
There is, inside the formula, there is one part where you repeat 3 times, kind of, yes, I did it, yes. And just try when you're alone and nobody's watching, really saying yes, I did it, or yes, I knew I did it, It makes, it shifts something inside you. It's always also, I always say, when you're repeating your formula, smile, even if the people around you, they think you're crazy, who cares, but this smiling and this emotion that you're creating. And this is what I was trying to explain with the music is playing the whole day. When you do this and you're smiling and you're like this, just if nobody's watching, it's like, yes, just, this is the frequency. And this is what, you're like a magnet for good things. And, people, this is with the wish to the universe. It's so easy because nobody wants to do something for it. But if you take this, what I say, take a month for yourself and really do it, and nobody, you can do it all the time. If you're not ready to put this little effort, how you want to be successful. It's also for me, some people, they are not moving, they're making no decision because they are not sure. For me, it's better just make a decision. And if it turns out wrong, at least you did something and this is wrong. But I'm 100% sure very soon something better is coming along just because you did a decision.
As they say, the worst decision is not making a decision in the first place. That is true. Suzanne, this is really a fascinating conversation. Thank you very much for all the wisdom you shared with us today. Before I wrap up, and I do have a couple of quick questions to finish off with, where do you want to direct the listener who wants to learn more about you and your work?
Yeah, what I did, I wrote this book and I really made it as a fast forward guide, It's not like 1,000 explanations leading to the same. It's a little book.
To the point.
to the point without blah blah and just to help the people to write their own formula. And I published it first in Germany, and okay, I had quite I had already many followers from my jewelry business from the same, so the start was quite easy in Germany. But I got so much good feedback, from people with crazy stories. Just different things. Like one girl, they found a flat they couldn't afford before, and they found a really cheap. Oh, but is this so everyday stuff? And she I don't know. I get so many nice stories about little everyday things. They suddenly pop up because you're more positive. And now in the English market, I found somebody to make the translation really like I wanted it. So yeah, can I show it?
Of course.
No, because I made it it's a happy book. It's a happy book, and everything is short, and at the end there's just a few lines where you fill in. Yes, I can't find it. You fill in your own formula. It leads you through it. So you have each chapter. You have to do some works. You have to do some things, and then you write down. And at the end of the book, there's this one page, and then you put together your final formula, because you have to say it, and then you write it down, because it must be very natural. And then you can make short versions. But that is the thing. And yeah, what to say is I love to get feedback. I love to hear stories from people. So yeah.
I want to thank you very much for writing this book and sharing this knowledge with the people who are ready to receive it, and they're looking for it for sure. So that is keep it up, please, for the sake of everyone. Susanne, before I close off, I do have two quick questions that I always ask my guests. And the first one is, what does personal development mean to you?
It's everything, because if you think you're the best and you know everything, you're so wrong. So for me, it's the base of a happy life, because it doesn't matter if it's with your children, with your partner, with your career. There is always improvement and development and awareness. So it's just don't take it to granted, or don't take yourself too serious or too important. So I think this is all for me. This is all part of the development. How you can ever get a good person if you're not, if you're not asking yourself, is it really good, or is this the best I can do? Yeah, so.
And hypothetically, if you could go back in time and meet your 18-year-old self, what's one piece of advice you would give her?
Make quicker decisions, really. Because sometimes I waited too long, or I stuck in a situation because I was not, it's not even about not being brave, but just always thinking it will work out, but just not. In English it's different, but in German the word is Entscheidung, and the second part of the word means divorce. It's like if you make a decision, it's also you decide against something else, and this would be the master advice I would give to myself. just make it quick. And there's one thing I realized with decisions is sometimes if you're not sure, you have to, you have to train also in everyday little stories. Sometimes if you have a strange feeling, the people misunderstand it like this is a bad feeling. But sometimes just to do something new makes a strange feeling. But there's a slight difference if something is really not for you, or if it's just a strange feeling of doing something new, and there's a slightly difference. And this you can, in the meantime, I figured it out. If it's my laziness, or my just, I don't want to do this right now, or if it's really, I should do it. It's just a strange feeling because I never did it before.
Thank you. Susanne, I want to thank you very much for this very inspiring and useful conversation that we had. I want to wish you all the very best with your next steps in your life, in your career, in your manifesting these things. I will leave it to you for your final parting wisdom.
Make a decision. We can really leave it like that. Make a decision and just trust yourself. And you can make the decision right after listening to the podcast.
Thank you for listening to this conversation with Suzanne Kos. I hope it has given you a fresh perspective on how identity, emotion, and repeated intention can powerfully shape your reality. If you have found value in this episode, consider supporting the show by visiting personaldevelopmentmasterypodcast.com/support. Your support helps to keep the conversations going and reach more listeners like you. You will also find the link in the episode description. Thank you. Until next time, keep growing and keep showing up as your authentic self. Stand out, don't fit in,